All right, what's going on, everybody? Let's see. Let's talk about. I got the calcium reactor up and running, and just wanted to talk about. Well, I mean, just a general discussion, not what calcium reactors are for and all that stuff, but my setup, what I've done, what I ran into, and what I'm still running into. So let's start off. I've got the Reef Octo CR200, I believe it is. It has the Varios pump to it, DC pump. I'm running the Kamoer, what is it, the STX doser. And I've got got the CO2 tank, of course. I've got the version 2 of the carbon doser. And also have the Milwaukee pH controller. I don't remember the model number off that right off. But anyway, we'll take a look at what all I've got. Let's see, let's get up and just walk around it. Okay, so if you've followed along the videos, I didn't have a place to put this thing, so I basically put it behind the cabinet here on the floor. So I have the Milwaukee pH probe calibrated in there. Have it all connected, according to the instructions. So this line is a feed that goes back, like recirculates, I guess, the gas. This one goes to the tank itself, the effluent line. And then there's a line on the bottom where water from the tank comes in, and then the CO2 goes in. Now, as I'm doing this video, and you'll kind of hear the air bubbles or slushing going through the pump every now and then. It took me a long time to bleed all the air out of this thing. When I finally did, I had everything shut off, and I bled all the air out by basically undoing this center connection, and then filling it full of water, and then turning on the pump while I was feeding to it, so pushing, and I waited till I had water come out of the top of it, and then I stopped. So I've had this thing connected both ways, pushing and pulling. At first I was pushing, and then I kept getting that sound, the slushing sound of the air going through the pump, or CO2. And then a bunch of forums I read, a lot of people recommend when you're using the Kamoer, the dosing pumps, to pull from it. So I reconfigured it and made the changes to pull water from it, or effluent. So that's what I'm doing now, and that's why that tube is shaking, because it's hooked directly to the Kamoer. And then I'll stop and just to listen to all the noise. It's just it's the CO2 going through it, and then air. So if you watch the bubble counter, I have it set on on the carbon doser, like 3 or 4. And I don't know, it doesn't look completely consistent. I may be wrong, but to me it looks a little off. But anyway, the other side of this, or other thing, is it's still making that noise, like air's going through the pump. And this is my first calcium reactor, so I'm not sure if it's supposed to do that. I would think, I hear a lot of people talk about how quiet these things are, and I'm getting that like slush sound of the air going through it. So let me know, anybody has any thoughts on that. I don't know what to do different. Even when I turn the carbon doser off, I let it set for an hour, just completely off, and I still got that like air slush sound. And I can't find any more really air like trapped in the system, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. But moving on, let me get down on the floor here Sorry to shake you up so much. Okay. So inside, there's the carbon doser, and you can hear it tick like a clock whenever it's releasing a CO2 bubble. Then the controller for the various pump, and they recommended turning it all the way up. For the CO2 tank, the recommendation I saw on that, and it doesn't go by PSI, it goes by bar. I'm not sure what that stands for. It said 0.5 to 0.6 is recommended. And actually it looks like it's at 0.4 right now. Turn it up just a little bit. So we'll leave that and see what it looks like or does, or if anything changes. Then on the doser, I'm going 30 milliliters a minute. And I mean, that thing's pretty quiet, unless, you know, when you turn it up faster speeds, you can hear it. But other than that, no real issue with it. On the other side, pH controller. So I have it set at 7 right now. I'm gonna let this run for a couple days and just see what happens as far as my parameters, my alkalinity and calcium and everything. Doing tests and just keep an eye on it. So if I need to, I'm gonna try, you know, from everything I've read, you adjust a calcium reactor in 2 ways. Either the amount of water you're pushing through it, or the pH level that you're running the reactor at. So, you know, the lower the pH, the more it's gonna dissolve the media in it, and the more of the elements it's gonna produce. Most people say they run these from like 6.5 to 6.8, but I'm starting out at 7 just to see what it looks like and what happens. And then at the speed that I'm going at currently, I'm going to just going to monitor and just see what happens, and then make adjustments from there. Let's see, let me climb over to the other cabinet, and you can kind of see the rate that is dripping there. Pretty consistent. I just have it hooked up to the regular dosing lines. Have it dripping where I have a air stone, or one of the wooden blocks, but air stone. I'm hoping that'll kind of take out some of the CO2 gas as it drips in. That's pretty steady. Sorry I hadn't cleaned up my sump either. And then the line that I'm pulling from is on the other side of the sump where the probe holders are. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll do it for this video. I just kind of wanted to go over what I've done so far. So the calcium reactor, I'm excited it's up and running. I don't know about the air slushing sound that's going through it. I'm not sure how to fix that yet. I may contact like Reef Octopus, or I think they're actually sold by Coral View. I might contact them and see if they have any recommendations. But I've tried bleeding air out of it, and I've tried pushing and pulling from the dosing pump. So I'm still getting the sound either route I go. So yeah, I do need to dig further into that, because I don't feel like it's supposed to make that noise. So I'm not sure if just something's wrong with it, or if it's just something I'm doing. And like I keep repeating, you know, this is my first calcium reactor, so it's going to be a learning experience for me. But other than that, everything else seems to be okay, and then I'll let you know after I get it dialed in, what all the settings and everything are at that time. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions or comments.